Hi, and welcome to this new video from Space Coast Preppers, covering life skills and survival techniques. Today I'd like to thank Lindsy for opening her home to teach this class on water bath canning. Lindsy, tell us a little bit about what we're going to do today.
Well, today we're going to be doing a very simple technique for water bath canning that anybody can do with very little money and very little supplies.
Great.
Start with something super easy and that's something that's already acidic. So what I have here is just a reduction. All that is vinegar, kosher salt, and garlic. So that's the base for every salsa.
Now, what is the reasoning behind the acidity?
To stop any botulism, bacteria,
and stuff like that.
Viruses, yeah. Because tomatoes are acidic too, but they're not super acidic. When you're water bath canning, you always want that 5% acidity. So when you buy a bottle of vinegar at the store, you want to look on the back and make sure it says reduced water to 5% acidity.
Okay.
So 5% acidity is the minimum when you're water bath canning, and that's going to kill. So after we chop up the tomatoes and everything, get this all done, we're going to throw this in a pot and boil it down, just so that we're killing all the bacteria or anything that might possibly be in there. Then we're going to transfer it into hot jars, and water, tap water hot is fine. They don't have to be boiled. The jars don't have to be. Your lids and your screw tops have to be boiled, but the jars themselves don't have to be. And you can do that, like I said, either just in a hot tap water bath or in your dishwasher. Most standard dishwashers don't get to boiling temperature anyway. When you are bringing your food up to temperature, you want your cans and your food, your jars and your food, to be about the same temperature. You don't want a wild temperature difference, because if your jars are real cold and you're adding super hot food, you're going to shatter your jars. The only thing that you really shouldn't use is metal. You don't want to use metal utensils when you're working with hot glass jars. And the simple explanation is that you can damage the jars, and thereby causing cracked jars, and you're wasting money if you do that. This is a headspace measure. So when you're canning something like salsa or spaghetti sauce, or jam or whatever, you want a headspace, and basically all a headspace is between the food and the top of the jar. You want air.
So to create a vacuum.
So that it creates a vacuum, yeah. Also, if your jar is too full, you could experience a blowout during process where it'll literally blow the top off the jar, and then you'll have all your food in your water. You just pack it in there a little bit. Okay, set it aside. All right, so you can see that the lid is clean because the food never touched the lid.
Oh, that's the advantage of having that.
That's the advantage of having that.
Stefano.
My lids here are already boiled, so these are ready to go. And again, I'm working on a surface that's not cold. So that's really hot, by the way.
And you just put the lid on it, and it creates the suction.
Just get my lid. Put it on there, and then you take your top and you do it fingertip tight. You don't want any more than that because you want the air to be able to escape. So I just hold the jar and give it one twist. That's it. And then this goes back into your water. And you can just set it in there however you want the water to be when you filled the pot with your cans, you want the water to be at least an inch over the top of your cans. And that's for pressure reasons, so that when the air does escape, it's got a place to
How
go.
long do you usually, when you're sealing them, how long do you seal them for?
15 minutes.
15 minutes, that's it?
That's pretty much a universal rule. It doesn't really matter what you're canning as long as you're water bath canning. 15 minutes is a really good time to make sure that your seal is going to seal properly. All right, as far as cost goes, after the initial cost of your jars and your lids, which is $15 to $20 depending on where you find them at, all this produce was less than $30. So I think it's like $27 at my local farmer's market.
Great.
So we're talking about here, I have 3 gallons of salsa for less than $30.
Wow.
So when you're talking about home canning, this is a huge expense saver. Even in just something as simple as 3 months worth of food, you can do for literally how much? A third of the cost of going out and buying a jar of salsa. With a jar of salsa, $6 for a good organic brand where you know everything that's in it.
Yeah.
Here we sat here and made this. We know everything that went into it. Nothing weird, no preservatives. And I figured out the cost of less than $1 a jar.
Wow.
And it gets less expensive the more years you use your jars, because you're no longer putting that income into your jars.
Mm-hmm.